Good morning, everybody. Well, I woke up this morning before sunrise, and as I sat in the backyard here watching the sun come over, casting that early morning sunshine on the inside of my house, the only time of the day that I get sunshine in my house. I have north-south facing windows, but the sun comes over here behind this big-ass tree, and I started thinking about the rising sun and the idea of Christ. And I think about this kind of stuff all the time, but I don't like talking about it anymore in videos because I know people who are religious get all huffy about it. Not that that's a deterring factor, but rather it's just these issues have been discussed over and over, the idea of Jesus being the Son. And so I just wanted to throw in a little bit on top of it. This whole idea that, the rising sun is the symbol of not just Jesus, but many of these figures through history who have, been representatives of nature, I guess. Archetypes and, anthropomorphic figures to understand the world around us. And I was thinking, since we understand that, Jesus and the Son are one and the same, and we speak about how during Christmas and the solstice, I feel really grateful to live in a time when we have the information available to us to research these things, because, a few hundred years ago it may have been very difficult to find this information. Nowadays it just comes out. And when you compare the biblical passage of Jesus, for those who aren't aware of this, of Jesus, being locked in a tomb and rising after 3 days, directly correlates to the winter solstice as the sun sets on the horizon at its lowest point for 3 days before it begins to rise again. So I learned that many years ago, but I haven't really been using it much or applying it to anything. I just kind of put it in the back of my mind and filed it away. Then I started to think this morning, as I saw the sun rise, I said, there's the sun. And I thought, so each day is like a mini cosmos. Each day is a small cycle of the great year, as we already know, but the year, and the year is the part of many other cycles in the great year. Excuse me. But it's like each day you rise with the sun, and being bathed in the glorious light of the Lord is nothing more to me than standing out in the sunshine. So when people try to make a connection to God, and they try to make a connection through Jesus to God, or through any other figure to the Almighty, often we forget that it's not really about what we think they are, or the ideas that we have about what God should be. Just merely standing out in the sunshine is divine. We take it for granted. It's just here. We wake up every day and the sun rises. But I definitely can see that it's not an issue that's going to be agreed upon or resolved by people, which is why I find it's fun to discuss. Because the best issues to discuss are the ones that won't be resolved. So everybody is always going to have a disagreement about what God is, and people are going to dig through books, passages, poems. They're going to dig through all types of old beliefs and old ways of thinking and try new ways of thinking, and in the end, the simplest approach is just to be in the light, merely by stepping outside. I don't know. I guess it seems a little bit cheesy, but that's the way I see it. Peas are coming in well. It's like when I see a bird or an animal and they look at me or they stop for a moment. Those are like the guardians of the light, you know. I guess the bird could be my priest. It helps me sing to the sun, and the sun helps me see the Almighty. You know, I grew up as not an atheist, but an agnostic. I guess that was the best title I could give myself. There was a time in my life when I thought that it's still possible that everything is by chance. Everything is by chance. And honestly, I still have to give a little bit of my time to that idea. I have to entertain the notion that everything might be by chance. But as the years went on, as some people grow away from religion, I did the exact opposite. I grew into religion. Not religion, I shouldn't say, but I grew into believing in the Almighty. I don't believe in religion. That was a bad choice. I've tried to find more understandings about why things are the way they are, and all it did was brought more questions. And I started to see how people can fall into traps, because I've seen my own belief traps, and how they can pull me in. This is why I try to stand in one place and I guess let the world move around me and observe, rather than trying to step in and make assumptions. But there is one assumption I do make, which is there's something bigger than us. And when I recognize that, things fall into place. And when I fall away from that, I forget myself. I forget the world. That's why I have to stay focused. Peace.